You are listening to the Smuggler's Galaxy podcast, my favorite podcast to listen to on long flights across the galaxy.
This is the way.
We're wanted men.
Spoken.
Oh, good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Glenn.
I will figure out a better way to start our podcast. You know, we're only like 95 episodes in, but I'll figure it out one day.
You gotta turn on the radio voice.
This
is the 95th edition of the Smuggler's Galaxy podcast with your hosts, Glenn and Jason. I am your host, Glenn. And here we're talking today about other things in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Woohoo. Top 40.
Something more
Ricky.
announcer voice.
Yeah. How's your week been? I heard you got some special swag from Celebration.
Yeah. I got 2 lines from Celebration. I don't know how I came home COVID positive and you didn't.
I have no clue, dude. I don't know how I didn't get COVID because it's like everybody we were around had it.
Yeah. And we were in the same room without masks.
Yeah.
For breakfast and sleeping in the same room.
We weren't in the same bed. We had different beds, you know.
But still. It's this whole virus is just crazy. But yeah. I came home with COVID.
Yeah, and it's like everybody we were around had it. I never felt the symptoms, so I never tested. But you know, I don't know. Maybe I should have, but I never. Nobody around me got sick. So I mean, I'm just gonna knock on wood and consider myself lucky for that. I've got a really awesome immune system.
Maybe that's what I thought I had because I went 2.25 years without getting COVID. And then I go to Celebration, I come home with it. So I had like a fever and I woke up. What did we come home Sunday night?
Yeah.
So we had Monday. So Sunday night I was kind of hot, but I just thought it was an AC issue. And then I woke up and I had a fever and it wasn't until a couple days later that I lost my taste. And so, the fever lasted like a day.
Uh-huh.
And then I lost the taste. I lost the smell. I started coughing. I'm finally COVID negative, but I'm still coughing. I'm still like I could take a deep breath, but then out of nowhere, the cough comes. So
Jeez.
If you ask me a question and I mute myself, it's probably because I'm coughing. So give me a minute.
Well, I can see you, so I know I'll be able to tell you're coughing.
Yeah, coughing up a lung.
So did you pick anything else up? Did you pick anything besides COVID up recently?
Yeah, I've felt pretty gluttonous with my collection, and it's to the point where I'm like, all right, maybe I need to start revising what I'm collecting here. So I think I'm going to start removing baby steps, right? I'm going to start removing the carbonized stuff out of my collection. I'll put it in a box into storage. It'll just live there for a little bit, and then maybe at some point I'll just let it go.
Right.
But when I look at my collection, I'm like, these don't look like the things from the movies. Why do I have a silver stormtrooper?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
But your question, what did I pick up? I mean, it's all tied together.
All right.
Because I'm looking at things and I'm like, okay, what do we do here? Because this is getting ridiculous. Luckily, I only picked up one holiday trooper.
Uh-huh.
It's the Santa looking one. I don't have that full collection, but still, it's like, if you were to ask me where that one is in my collection, I can't tell you. So maybe that's another one that I'm going to let go, and I'm not going to get. I think they've stopped with the carbonized because they haven't really announced that in a while.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, they haven't. They've just been doing a bunch of repaints, but whatever.
But what did I pick up? Let's talk about Celebration pickups.
Okay, let's talk. What did you get at Celebration? Because I know you got a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah. I got too much stuff.
Did you really?
So I did get the Hasbro exclusive, which was just a QR code, which
Right.
is, I mean, I'm excited. I like the figure. It is another repaint, like you were just saying. But I wish it was something special that I picked up at Celebration, and it's just not the case. It's like a QR code for a promise for later. I guess it's going back to 78 with the mail away figures, though.
Do you think they just took a John Favreau head off a Marvel figure and put it on Paz Vizsla? Or
Probably, yeah. Took it off Happy Hogan and they put it on pause.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, when you think it through, it's kind of a stupid thing because they're not supposed to reveal their helmets. Like, they're not supposed to take it off.
Right.
So that figure should never have something without the helmet, unless in season 3 we see him without.
I don't know. You see the Dinjarin underneath the waterfalls, so maybe he's trying. I don't know. I wouldn't count on it though.
But I got my QR code from Hasbro, and I immediately walked over to Hallmark, which is like kitty corner.
Right.
And while I was waiting in line, they had there's 2 checkout counters. There was the one for the exclusive, but you have to pass the regular checkout line to get to that exclusive checkout. That makes sense. It's just like 2 corners, and you just have to go around from one to the other.
Yes.
And while I was standing there, they had the animated Boba Fett ornament there, which I'm like, I'll take that. And then they also had the Ahsoka one.
See, I really wish I would have known that crap, because when I made my rounds at Hallmark, I talked to the lady in that one, and they had the droid. They had the probe droid. And she said, "Oh, yeah, we got probe droid." She never said, "Hey, buy it now." And I would have been more than happy to do 2 purchases with them. And by the time I got around to the exclusive side, the probe droid was gone.
I asked her how many Ahsokas they had,
Mhm.
and they only brought 72.
Yeah.
So those probably sold out morning of day 1.
Yeah, they sold out pretty quick. But the way I look at it, it saved me $80 for not having to buy them. But it still would have been cool to have them for my collection.
Which Hallmark things did you get? Just Bo-Katan and the Itty Bitty?
Yeah, the Thrawn, Itty Bitty, and Bo-Katan. And I got Bo-Katan for Darksaber. I can care less about Bo-Katan.
Yeah. So I got those. And then what else did I get? Room sales. Did you pick anything up room sales?
I got a mock-up Galactic Heroes. It was, I think, Boba Fett and Bosk. And then it was in a Kenobi and somebody else packaging.
Yeah.
That's all I picked up. The stuff I saw, I wasn't too excited about, but it was still cool. I know you picked up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I sold a bunch of stuff. Those pills went faster than I could unwrap them. I was trying to get to them all. Like, do you have this? Do you have this? And I'm like, yeah, let me. Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay, $20 here.
Yeah.
I thought $20 was the perfect amount because people would look at it and be like, how much? And I'd be like, $20. And there was no consideration in their mind. They're like, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to pick that up.
Right.
Which is good because I made some money.
Right. You made enough money to make some purchases. But,
yeah.
I mean, I think those are pretty cool because people have embraced that. And, like you were saying, oh, what do you collect? It'll have Darth Vader or Boba Fett, and you let people know what you collect. It adds a little touch of customization to somebody's shelf, which looks awesome.
Yep. So with that money, I was able to buy so Micro Machines kind of retired, and Hasbro made die-cast titanium ones that were a little bit bigger, in like the 2006, 2007 time period. And there was a silver Millennium Falcon that I picked up. It is pre-production. It was never released as a silver one. It was released as a gold one. And the only way you can get the gold one was in the Transformers, because they did a mashup of Star Wars and Transformers. And in the Millennium Falcon one, the Millennium Falcon Transformer, it came with 2 golden die-cast vehicles, the TIE Fighter and the Millennium Falcon. So it never came out as silver. I have the silver one now. I also picked up flat boxes for Action Fleet, which was cool.
Yeah.
So now I have those. And then at Andy Loney's booth at Celebration, he had a bunch of sign-off samples for the Titanium series, which again is Micro Machines. It's labeled as Micro Machines on the back. It's not on the front. But they're sign-off samples, and I have them now in my collection.
Sweet. Did they survive the plane ride home?
Yeah, that was a little scary. The one that I was really concerned with was the BC-148, the Imperial Assault Tank Commander, which is one that I've been on the hunt for a while.
But you pretty much held that in your lap on the plane ride, didn't you?
Yeah, I took that one out of the suitcase and I put it in my backpack. So that was with me the entire time. But it was nerve-wracking. That was frustrating because they were like, sorry, we have no more space for carry-on. You're gonna have to check your bag. So I'm like freaking out because I have all these collectibles that I don't want to get smashed in my my carry-on bag. And then so I pulled my vintage collection figure out. I had all of my vintage collection proofs in there. I bought 2 of those, which I forgot to mention. And so they checked it underneath, and then we sit down and we both look up and we're like, there's 2 spots right there. I could have slid my bag in the overhead above us.
Yes.
So that's everything I picked up at Celebration, including those 2 proofs that I just mentioned, but they're actual proofs. Oh, and also the Micro Galaxy Squadron vehicle. I picked up one of those from Jazzwares.
Yes. But you haven't. I've actually, because I know like right after Celebration, they did re-release them on, or open the pre-orders back up on Amazon, and I was able to pick up that Millennium Falcon because that Millennium Falcon is pretty badass. I'm probably end up getting the Razor Crest too, but we'll see. But it was awesome.
Yep. The Mandalorian X-Wing, Luke Skywalker X-Wing is only limited to 5,000 worldwide.
I'm curious how that's going to work, man, because how hard is it going to be to find that, out of those 5,000, I guess you're just going to have to be lucky. I understand what they're doing with those things, but it is kind of aggravating as a collector, the way they're doing it, but you can't argue with them when they're, when they're doing what they do. I guess, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a way to incite excitement in people, to get them to the store and chase things down. But it also incentivizes the scalpers who are in it just for the money.
Yeah.
And the people who don't have jobs and can go at 9 a.m. when Target opens up to grab the X-Wing to turn around and sell it for $100.
Right.
It's not for the collectors, it's for the scalpers. We're in a different world than 20 years ago. And so I just don't think I'm thankful that Hasbro doesn't do that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, that's sort of
disappointed Jazzwares is.
Yeah. That's the only bad thing without that thing. But I mean, that's sort of what killed the Star Trek and Playmates thing, was they did stuff that was so limited that people just stopped collecting them.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't do that with those things, because they are some pretty awesome looking vehicles. But yeah, anyway, back to, I guess you're done with your pickups, right? I think.
Yes.
From Celebration.
Yes.
I didn't do as bad. I didn't pick up a whole lot, but I know you're going to bust my balls because I got a tattoo.
Yeah.
And I swore
the 2 things going into Celebration: I'm not getting a tattoo, and I'm not getting an art piece. And then you get a tattoo and some art.
And I totally did both. Yeah. I didn't want to find any art. And then after the whole, I had gotten a tattoo like first thing Thursday morning, and the girl was like, yeah, man, we'll get it in. And then I'm late for the Hollywood, or what were we doing? The Battle of the Star Wars Clubs, the Family Feud edition. I was late for that, which y'all didn't need me.
Fan group feud.
Yeah, y'all kicked everybody's ass with that one. And then after the whole Rebels thing, with Ahsoka, I ran around. I'm like, let me just look at art. And of course, I passed by an art, and they got a Kalikori, and I'm like, damn it, I need to get that. And then of course she goes, well, I'm like, I ask her how much it is. It's $20. And oh, it's 3 for $50. So then you look and she's got 2 more other pieces of Rebels art. So I picked those up. And it was a cool moment because then I'm like, hey, did you see the trailer? And she was like, no, I haven't. So I showed her the Ahsoka trailer and we had a moment because she loves Rebels just as much as I do. And then I went to around the corner, looking at more stuff. And then I bought another piece of freaking Rebels art. That was, they shipped it to me. I wasn't going to buy it. And then I'm like, we'll do free shipping. So I was like, throw it on the pile, F it. I'm going to buy it. And, I think that's all I got. Well, and then my wife, I bought her she does the plushies. Somebody had an OG R2D2 plush that goes with the Chewbacca that still, the nose still beeps, and it had the hang tag, but the hang tag had fallen off. I guess it had worn out enough to where it falls off. So I picked that up for her. So there again, I'm picking more vintage crap up for the wife than I did myself. The only other thing I saw that I wanted was some Galactic Heroes, ship prototypes, but by the time I was ready to make a deal on those, somebody else had picked them up. So it is what it is. I was excited about them, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I got to get them. So I was kind of waiting for room sales, which I thought room sales was, it was cool, but it wasn't as cool as it was in Orlando 5 years ago. It felt like there was more going on in Orlando, but it was still cool. Room sales was all right.
Yeah. I wonder if what room sales, the fact that it got shut down and it moved across, was there a lack of communication? Did people not put 2 and 2 together and just assume room sales wasn't happening at all?
I don't know. I mean, normally, because it's an organic thing at room sales are at Celebration, because it just sort of happens, and maybe somebody should have hung out, or somebody might have thought to go check the other hall or something. But, I think that hallway worked out really well because it was blocked off from everybody.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And nobody, people left us alone because, we were at dinner and people are texting and saying, it's moved or it's got canceled or blah. And, you're kind of freaking out because you're like, we got to get back. It's room sales. We got to go. So we went, we made our way back. Yeah, I don't want to, I'm just going to touch on this real quick because I kind of, as far as Celebration goes, even though I was there, I think I still had major FOMO because there's just so much crap going on that you can't do it all. You can only be in one place at one time at Celebration. And, you get home and you start looking at pictures and you're like, oh man, this was going on and that was going on and this panel happened. And then, you just FOMO kicks in, even though you were there.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the way they do panels. And I get that there's no completely 100% fair for everyone in the convention. And you just have to do like lotteries like that. But it's just frustrating when you see people who got to do all 3 lotteries. And then there's people who didn't get to do the lotteries. And then you see people walking around with the posters that they hand out at these panels. And at no fault to your own, did you not get into the panel? You didn't get the poster. I guess I'm only butthurt about that because of the fact that I was looking for a Kenobi poster the entire time. I just didn't like the way they did those panels. It's frustrating. And there's no live stream, so it's not even like I could be anywhere watching the Ahsoka trailer in the convention unless you're at the super exclusive, I should say, not inclusive, because it's not inclusive, it's exclusive panel.
Yeah, I did not like that. This Celebration, it kind of felt a little bit off as far as the way it was set up. Because I know in Orlando, that Star Wars stage was in the middle of the floor. So you could be shopping or talking to people and watching, keeping an eye on a panel because they live streamed all the panels in Orlando, which I heard that was a big complaint this year, that they didn't live stream anything, any of the bigger panels.
They could have. That whole Star Wars stage was sequestered from the rest of the convention, so there's no way of determining. I mean, there's probably someone screaming in the car, yes or no, right now. But right. I just wasn't over there.
I was over there for a little bit because I had kind of checked, kind of looking around, and they were like, "Oh, Mandalorian fans, be back here at 2:00." So at 2:00, I went back out there, and they were showing a panel, but it wasn't a big panel. I don't remember what panel it was. And then, they're like, all right, Mandalorian fans, and they bring out Daniel Logan. And I have nothing against Daniel Logan, but I've hung out with Daniel Logan. I'm like, Daniel Logan, yay. I was expecting something a little bit bigger, which apparently they did later on in the afternoon. But I had left. And, then there again, you see Rosario and you see the girl that's playing Sabine that's up there, and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. And you're like, son of a bitch. I missed out on all this stuff. But yeah, it felt off. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just FOMO, or you're wanting to do so much stuff, or is it because we, only did the convention, or, I don't know. I know that next time the convention's stateside, I'm going to go out a couple of days early, see the sites, and then focus on Celebration. I think that's the only way to kind of do things.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else on Celebration wise?
Celebration wise. No.
What was your coolest moment of Celebration? Let's.
I mean, it was Obi-Wan meeting you, and I guess I didn't really meet him, but I had more interaction in that pre-morning than I did with the signature. So, I mean, that's the highlight, was saying good morning to Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, that was cool. And then the whole Dave Filoni thing was kind of cool, which we kind of dumped on Jazzwares, and we dumped on another guy from the Indiana group.
Yeah, Alex from Indiana.
Yeah, that as soon as we heard Dave Filoni was there, we chased him around like two little schoolgirls. And I'm trying to mute my phone. I should have muted it. There we go. Just to be able to be in his presence for a few minutes. So that was cool. So that's probably my fanboy moment of Celebration, which there again, if we didn't have the club table, that wouldn't have happened, because we were able to get in there, a couple hours early every day.
Yeah.
Or just, I think the lesson learned is we need to just go with the flow, and just, see see something going on, just kind of go with it.
I agree.
Yep.
But it was fun, and a lot of fond memories from that, and hopefully I'll be able to make the next stateside one.
Yeah.
London's just too far.
No, London.
Too expensive. Well,
people have like done the whole cost comparison thing with Anaheim and London, and they were like, it's about the same, but I still don't want to be on a 12-hour plane flight.
I'm sure it is, but my family would want to go to London, and so it's times 5. I was able to swing California, but I don't know if I can swing London by myself.
Right.
Especially when we all want to go to Scotland. So
I
am part Scottish.
Scottish. If it's not Scottish, crap.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Saturday Night Live reference, guys.
Old one.
An old one. Yeah, that's sort of how I feel about it. I'm just going to wait for it to come stateside. I'm kind of glad it's in London next year. That way it'll give us time to, get our bankroll, let our wallets heal, let our bodies heal, and then we can, hit it hard when it comes back stateside. I'm hoping it's Orlando, man, because that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Me too.
So
one thing I wanted to mention about Kenobi,
yes,
right at the start, right when the Inquisitors land on Tatooine, the Grand Inquisitor walks into that, I don't even know if you can call it a cantina. I'm sure this is obvious.
Yeah, he called it a saloon.
I'm sure this is obvious for some people, but it wasn't until like my third rewatch that I picked this up. He walks in and he goes, "We're looking for a Jedi," and he glances to his left, and someone in the back corner is looking at someone at the opposite side of the saloon and puts his head down. I think it was an alien, and it was the Jedi. The Jedi was on the other side. The Inquisitor looks over at the Jedi, and he's looking at the alien that the Inquisitor was just looking at. So right off the bat, the Grand Inquisitor knows exactly who the Jedi is. He was able to deduce it just by mentioning the word Jedi within 3 seconds. And it's Reva that actually messes everything up, because the Inquisitor had the mouse in its palms, and the mouse didn't realize it. And Reva just came in like a bull in a china shop, destroyed everything.
Yeah, I do. I want to mention something, as far as the Riva character. You know, I'm not a big fan of the character, but I'm not going to attack the actress because I don't like the character. You know, and it just sucks that people are doing that. That's not cool.
I'm getting sick. Like, it's not cool. And I'm getting sick of every article mentioning it because it is a small fraction of the Star Wars. No one that I know, and I mean, I'm not the center of the Star Wars universe, but no one that I know is saying anything bad about the character or the actress.
Mhm.
And so I think it's just a really small fraction of people who are stupid. I'll just say it. Because she is, I think the only issue that I'm having with the character is that there's just mystery behind it and we don't know motivation.
Okay.
I think that's the only challenge that I'm experiencing, because the other thing with the there was a Padawan right at the start who was a Padawan of color. And I don't want to say that, you know, because it's a Padawan of color, it has to be Riva, because there could be more than one. I mean, yeah, but so it's just an easy jump to say that could be Riva right there at the start at Order 66.
Right.
And the reason she might have a hang up with Kenobi, was it Ted that said this on this podcast? Or did I can't remember where I picked this up. This is not my original thought, but it was Kenobi who said to all the Jedis to stay away from the Jedi Palace, that the clones have turned against them. It was his message. So it could be the reason Riva is mad at Kenobi, because no one came to rescue the Padawans because Kenobi told everyone to stay away. So she was helpless. And spoiler for the latest episode, I'm going to give everyone a second here. I'm just going to go into episode 4. When we get down to the I don't know what to call it. Is it a tomb? There's a Padawan there, a youngling.
Yeah.
And I think that youngling was from the start of the series. So it's like, did Riva at that point, after Order 66, get captured by Anakin and say, you know, you're with us now, and your first job is to hunt down other younglings? And she grabs one of the younglings, and that's her first kill, so to speak. And that's the Padawan that we see in that grave.
Yeah, that whole thing, I was trying to figure out who all these people were, and it was kind of hard. It was hard to figure it out who all they were.
They're deep cuts. Some of them were in Clone Wars, some of them were in comics. I was hoping that like a Plo Koon or Kit Fisto or what are some of the other ones? Maybe, well, it wouldn't be Yaddle. Yaddle was gone, Attack of the Clones, before all of this. But yeah, I agree. I wish there was someone who's like a banner, like, oh, Obi-Wan. Well, there was one that was on the Jedi Council, so Obi-Wan definitely knew them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's cool. What I mean, how do you feel about okay, so episode 3. Let's talk about that for a minute, because we got 2 episodes we got to talk about.
Sure.
I'm trying to think where to go, how to start there. Because I mean, you've got that epic. The thing that sticks out to me the most about episode 3 was that the duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader was you know, you're seeing Obi-Wan try to regain his force powers, and that duel just, you know, was cool. It was cool seeing him run from Vader for a minute.
Yeah, I liked episode 3 a lot. I thought it was incredibly tense. It was a very suspenseful episode. It was designed to be suspenseful. I also like how episodes 3 and 4 kind of tie into each other, because like you're saying, there is the showdown between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it doesn't go the way Obi-Wan would suspect. It doesn't go the way that episode 3 went, because Kenobi's been cut off from the Force for so long. He's not strong in it, and if Darth Vader wanted to, he would have killed him. He could have killed Kenobi and been done with it. And I don't know why. When we start the episode 1, they do the flashback from all the prequels from episodes 1 through 3, and one of the things they do highlight is Padme saying they're still good at him, and telling Obi-Wan that they're still good at him. And the only reason I think that they threw that in there is to help explain moments like this, when Vader is dragging Kenobi through the fire, and then he puts the fire out, And then he has the perfect opportunity to drag Kenobi back into the fire, and he lets Kenobi go. And I just go back to that. There's still good in him.
Mm-hmm.
That they were brothers, and Vader has issues killing his brother.
Right. Yeah, I really dug that line when Kenobi's like, "What have you become?" and Vader's like, "I've become what you've made me."
Yeah, what you made me.
And that was cool hearing James Earl Jones doing the voice again, even though I know it ends up being synthesized, but it was still, it was a nice little, throwback.
The voice sounds great. It doesn't sound like my voice in the voice in Rogue One. My voice is kind of grovelly right now, and that's how Vader sounded in Rogue One. He sounded tired because James Earl Jones is not 40 years younger. So
Mufasa.
whatever they've done in the Kenobi show is great. I don't know if it's Vader, if it's James Earl Jones re-recording it, and then they use a synthesizer to get rid of the groveliness or what, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
I also liked, that's episode 4. No, it is episode 3. I liked how Vader shows up, and immediately Kenobi is feeling that. He's feeling dizzy. He's feeling sick because there's a new dark entity in his presence. And Vader walking down the street, snapping the necks of children and dragging people behind him, and just leaving a wake of death behind him as he walks down the street, quite literally. I love that because I go back. Sorry, real quick. I go back to the days when Lucasfilm still owned Star Wars, and Darth Vader was dancing on stages at Disney World to modern music, and what a joke Darth Vader became. And for all the crap that Lucasfilm gets, the one thing, since they've been bought by Disney, for all the crap that they get, the one thing that they've nailed is making Darth Vader a freaking villain again.
Yeah. I think that was sort of a him just walking down the street and yeah, like you said, snapping those necks. It was sort of to drag Kenobi out, and then Kenobi ran. No, he did come out, and that whole series. I mean, the safe house. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm trying to rewind things in my mind, but the safe house was cool, and then the callback to that one Jedi. Are we going to see him? And just the underground there, you get a feeling that there's a lot more stuff going on in the background than we know about, as far as trying to help the Jedi. And I'm still trying to figure out how Reva made it to the end of that tunnel before Leia did.
People have been challenged by that, and I would suspect that she sensed through the Force where it was going, or maybe she deduced, because she's an Inquisitor and she is essentially Sherlock Holmes for the Empire.
Right.
Her job is to suss out Jedi. So she used the Force, and she kind of sensed where it was ending, and she went there.
Do you think she used the helicopter lightsaber?
No, I think if you remember episode 1, right at the beginning, Kenobi and Qui-Gon kind of fly down that hallway to escape the destroyer droids, and they were essentially just like flashes. They just used the Force to speed through the hallway.
Okay.
I think people shouldn't forget that there's Force abilities that appear, but then they don't appear again. And I think that's maybe what happened. She used the Force to jet across the planet, and who knows how long that hallway really is.
Yeah, and
she could have ran it.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's not going to run back because then that girl that saved Kenobi, they would have ran into each other. So she had to be above ground hunting that, trying to figure out where that tunnel led.
Also, the tunnel was curved, and who's to say that there wasn't a straight line outside?
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, if you're seeing some guy just hang out at a tunnel, kind of suspiciously, as that guy might have been, I mean, that's where that tunnel ends. I'm going to kill that guy and get whoever comes out. So,
look, he's standing right next to a ship waiting on somebody. That must be my guy.
Yeah. And I thought what they've done expertly is in episode 4, Kenobi is starting to use the Force again to become the Jedi he once was.
Yeah.
And that was such a cheer moment in my eyes, seeing him do everything down in that hallway, using his lightsaber and using the Force again. I was just getting very, very happy, and it was good to see him kind of come home in a way.
Yeah. It'll be, yeah, I hope we've got 2 episodes left, so I'm definitely hoping. I mean, we got to have another show off, man. We got to have another duel between him and Vader, because if that's all we get, that's kind of a bummer. As far as him, it was cool seeing him ignite the lightsaber and, in the darkness and run around in the dark and stuff. But I really hope we see another duel, and I hope we get to see the Grand Inquisitor again and figure out what happened to him, because I know it's freaking a lot of people, a lot of Rebels fans out thinking the Grand Inquisitor is dead, which the way it sounds is almost like Reva's blaming Kenobi on his death or him being injured.
Yeah. The Grand Inquisitor's not dead.
Nah.
They know what's going on. And the other thing I liked, so the one issue that I've had with the show is Reva reprogramming Lola to be a spy.
Yeah.
Because she had Leia in her hands. And so it's like, did you expect her to escape? What was the thought process there?
Right. Unless they want him to lead them to more things. I didn't understand that part, I guess. What else happened in the 4th episode? Because they
handled Leia expertly.
Right.
She did not give up the rebel base.
Yeah.
Just like she did in episode 4. She's trying to stay one head of Reva. It's almost like they've met each other's equals. And it's just sad that Reva's equal is how old is she? 8-year-old?
I think she's 10. She would be about 10, but yeah. I did not like the fact that they were going to torture her. That kind of threw me for a loop. But thankfully she was saved. I guess was it the 5th brother that jumped in before they started torturing Leia?
No, it's Kenobi.
Was it Kenobi?
Kenobi rescued her. Because remember, they turned off the lights. Tala turned off the lights to the base, and Kenobi, it was completely dark, and Kenobi lit his lightsaber and killed the 2 stormtroopers and got her out.
Yep.
That's also another thing that I struggled with, was her kind of walking. Tala. Let me triple check that. Yeah, Tala Durith. Her walking around, the way that she got rid of those 2 stormtroopers, kind of just like pushing one of the faces, it was just a little like weak in my mind, but I just went with it because it's Star Wars, and I was just overwhelmed with Leia being Leia.
Yeah.
They just nailed that character, and Kenobi coming back to the Force and using the Force and using the lightsaber. Because you have to use the Force with your lightsaber to deflect the blasters. That's only something you can do in the Force.
Right.
And so towards the end of that whole thing, he was hitting all of them, and he was not only just hitting them, but he was using the Force to deflect them and hit back at the stormtroopers. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that was the highlight of the episode, was Kenobi coming back. I keep going back to it, but he's coming back to the Force.
Yes. And then they ended with them on a ship, right? Like getting out of there.
Yeah, the rebels came in with I guess snow speeders, but
that was so badass, dude. I'm sorry. That was so badass, those snow speeders, man. I've only seen the episode once, and I've been in a weird funk all week because I had my surgery on Wednesday. So I've been trying to get rid of anesthesia for like 3 days. This is the first day I felt normal since Wednesday, but yeah, I totally forgot about that. Those snow speeders. That was so awesome to have that throwback, because you would expect them to be X-Wings, but no, they were snow speeders.
Yeah, so that was how they got out. I know people have had some issues with that too.
With them being snow speeders?
No, just the ease of escape. Like that's supposed to be one of the most secure facilities in the Empire because of all the secrets that they hold. And they were able to escape relatively easily. And like Kenobi's just walking out with Leia underneath his jacket.
Sorry, I forgot about that part too. That was so funny. It's like, like Get Smart or something, like a silly buddy comedy moment when he's hiding her in his jacket to get out, which, like you said, anybody would be able to look at him and be like, well, why is your jacket so big?
Yeah.
Because I'm hiding a 10-year-old. Yeah, those snow speeders were cool. It felt like it looked like they kind of customized them and put like an extra bench seat or something in the back, because it felt like it looked like they might have opened up and had everybody get in the back of them and then closed up and took off, like more of a troop transport type thing.
One of them gets blown up, the other one gets into the ship, and everyone escapes. There's a really nice tender moment with Leia, kind of like putting her hand in Obi-Wan's and kind of saying, "Thank you, I trust you." And then you see Lola turn red. That says she's a Terminator. It's insinuating she's become a tracker.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with Vader and Reva. He's giving her too many chances. It's not the Vader we see in Empire Strikes Back, who would just kill and then be done with it.
Yeah. Him and Reva getting into it was pretty awesome too. The way, him, because Vader's just been a badass in this series. He was, it felt like he was getting ready to kill Reva, and then somebody stepped in on it because he was just that pissed off. And then no, it was, and then that's when she said she had him tracked, and then he pulled back.
Yeah. So, episode 4 has been my favorite because it ties into Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, that's where we see this place. I do like how like a video game correlates almost exactly with the show. I thought that was pretty cool. I also thought it was interesting that it's right off of Mustafar.
Mm-hmm.
It's a planet that orbits Mustafar, this water planet the Inquisitors hide out in. I'm wondering if the Jedis were trophies, or if after the destruction of Camino, to hide the secrets, did the Empire realize that they made a mistake because now they don't have any cloning facilities, they don't have the cloners, and they're stuck on their own. And in order to clone the Emperor, it takes them maybe 50 years, 60 years to figure out the technology.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do the math in my head because it's throughout the original trilogy. 5 years later in Mandalorian time, we're seeing they want Grogu for some reason. I would imagine it's for DNA and midichlorians and all that stuff to try to figure out how do we clone? How do we do what the Kamino ones did? And so when you see those Jedis in episode 4 of Obi-Wan kind of stuck there as trophies, are they saving them for, because it looked like amber. It reminded me of Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, totally.
Are they preserving it to try to have specimens to experiment with? I don't know.
They probably were. I don't know. It was sort of, I dug that whole aesthetic of that temple or whatever, stronghold or whatever, because when they when they're downstairs or in the meeting room, you could see fish floating around, you can tell they're underwater. So I really dig that setup.
I also liked in the meeting room, the Inquisitor meeting room, around the entire peripheral, around the sides, there was lightsabers of all. That's another trophy.
Yeah, that was
the Jedis they've killed.
There's been a lot of good Easter eggs in this series. Going from the trophies, from like one of the first shots when Obi-Wan goes into the spaceport, there's a rebel transport up high. That it's really fast, but you see it. So I mean, it's just the Easter eggs in this thing's been. I think they've done a perfect job with them, because they're not over the top like they were trying to do in Rise of Skywalker, where they're just trying to feed you Easter eggs in and out.
It doesn't feel like fan service. It feels like it's serving the plot, yet at the same time, it's pushing forward the mythology of Star Wars.
Yep.
To have the dead Jedi stuck in ember and the lightsabers around the room. I mean, it just serves the purpose of showing how evil these guys are and how successful they have been, and that they're a real threat for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, it's starting to become a really cool. It's a really cool thing. I mean, what are you looking forward to? What do you think is going to happen in the next 2 episodes? If you had to guess.
I would have thought that Riva would, like I kind of guessed a couple episodes ago, Riva would get her comeuppance and be killed. However, with the talk of her own spin-off show, I guess it could be a prequel, but I do think that she's going to get what she's coming for. Her in the rematch of the century, Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. And I also expect with all the I think the show's made a promise of Qui-Gon Jinn making an appearance with it each time that Obi-Wan's just silently asking for his master to come. I think Qui-Gon will appear at the end and say, "Stay with the Force. You're now a Jedi. Learn self-sacrifice. Learn to become one with the Force."
Yeah. I'm curious if we're going to see any more Luke. I mean, because we heard rumors that it was going to be the baby Leia show, or he was going to run after Leia, or there was going to be something to get him off planet, but I didn't realize it was going to be the whole series, which it works. And because we were all worried that it was going to be just him watching Luke on Tatooine through binoculars, but it turned out to be a way better show, I think, with him rescuing Leia. And I think now they're gonna they're gonna track him with Lola having a tracker. I mean, but to me, I think the next step would be as soon as you rescued Leia, that you'd go straight to Alderaan and drop her off. But maybe they're going to have a little bit more underground stuff to where they have to, smuggle him a little bit more before he.
I agree. Because that's what I turned to Harrison as they were flying away. I'm like, why don't they just drop her off at Alderaan and then move on? But I would guess that she's going to learn a little bit more about the rebellion or the path or whatever they're calling it right now. And that's going to instill some values in her that she carries through for the rest of her life.
Right.
I do, going back to your Luke thing, I do think we go back to the homestead at the very least, because the actress who played Beru in episodes 2 and 3 was cast for this show. So, and we haven't seen her yet.
Yeah.
We've only seen Joel Edgerton. So I would assume that we go back and we see her. And so I would assume Luke's there.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see. Go ahead.
Or maybe Kenobi, Kenobi and Owen are button heads, but maybe it takes the mother's touch to be like, it's okay. Let him have the T-16 Skyhopper.
Mm-hmm.
He means no harm.
Yeah.
And then they kind of separate.
Because I want to see what's going on. I'd love to see that interaction. As far as Uncle Owen and Ben getting into it more, because you could tell that they've had that interaction before and they're going to have it again. So yeah, let's see that. Yeah. And then we got when Bad Batch starts pretty much immediately, doesn't it? Or is it?
No, it starts in the fall. Andor starts in August.
Okay.
So we'll have August. I also heard. Are we done with Kenobi?
Yeah, I think we're done with Kenobi.
I also heard that Kevin Feige wants his own celebration for Marvel.
Huh.
I think there's a giant fandom that can definitely warrant its own convention. But between Celebration, D23, and Marvel, it would be interesting to see, would they do a Marvel and a Celebration in the same year? Would they do those every other year so that a Celebration is, every 3 years if it's on a rotation?
It's an interesting thought. I mean, because Marvel is a big enough fan base, they could do a convention.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you're balancing, you're juggling 3 major conventions, between Celebration, D23, and whatever for Marvel.
Yeah.
But, There's enough.
Wanted to mention that.
Yeah, there's enough companies that do conventions that they could probably manage doing them. But I also like the fact that Celebration is every other year. I don't like it being every year.
I don't either. I think it's just too frequent. And same thing with the movies. I didn't like how the movies were every year. I thought that they were trying to copy the Marvel method, but Marvel's a different entity where, I mean, new stories were released weekly in comic form. So people were kind of used to that. But Star Wars was one every other 3 years or so.
Yeah.
And that would help build the hype. It would give them filmmakers time to kind of think things through. I thought, 2 years between was a little too fast. So we'll see.
Yeah. And we're going to get Star Wars overload here in the next 2 years, man. So be ready for it. It's going
But we're starting to, we're being trained differently now with the shows because the shows are coming at a faster pace.
Right. Which I'm cool with. I really enjoy the shows because you can, like Kenobi, instead of it being a 2-hour movie, you're getting a 6-7 hour TV show and they can flush things out and you can watch it in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
Have you seen
figure out how all of this was a movie at one point? Kenobi and
Right.
how they've extended it.
I don't know. You heard rumors of it, right? There was rumors of it being a movie.
Well, yeah, Stuart Beatty was one of the screenwriters for the movie. So, I don't know if it's a trilogy that they were planning, and here we are at the end of the second movie or what, but I don't know. Anyways, we were saying before I interrupted.
I don't remember what I was saying. That
I got my Camtono.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention that. That was pretty cool.
That was badass. I almost ordered one, but I didn't.
Yeah, so much so that my son was just like, his eyes got wide. He had a giant smile, and I'm like, "Oh, look at him show emotion." All the kids wanted to open it because it comes with its own. It's a safe.
Yeah,
it's got 3 buttons: buttons 1, buttons 2, and buttons 3, and you can set your own thing. And you click the buttons 6 times in whatever order, and then you can open it. The light switches from red to green, and then you can open it, and it's just exactly like the show.
Yeah, it's amazing how something that just, flashed on a screen for 30 seconds has gotten its own lore behind it. You got the cooler too from Celebration, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm kind of, with the Camtono, I've kind of put a capstone on my Wilbur Hood collection. I think I'm good.
Are you going to do the running?
I also got the. Yeah, I might. Yeah, the future celebrations.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to do it at Toylanta again. I don't know if that's necessary, but if we're trying to do it a more Star Wars focus section of the Toylanta, maybe there's an opportunity to do it again. However, I don't know if it's necessary.
Yeah, it was kind of fun, but you did get some weird looks because it is a GI. It was running around a bunch of GI Joes. They're like, who are these crazy MFers?
Yeah, I also got that Gary Weaver, Toy Weaver exclusive Wilbur Hood ice cream droid.
Oh, awesome!
So I'm done. I'm out. I'm good with my patch set and my Wilbur Hood collection because it also has the legacy version of the figure. I have a custom Lego guy, Wilbur Hood. So
until we do something else with it.
We'll see.
Till we do another patch set.
We'll see.
There ain't no we'll see, man. That patch set was, as far as swag goes, that patch set was insane the way it was received.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was a betting man, I would say that there would be a season 2 of the patch set at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be for London, though.
I don't think we're going to have enough people. To me, I think it'd be a waste to do it in London, depending on how many people are going to go,
Yeah.
If you have a big contingent, then we'll talk about it, but it's not going to be like it is, stateside where we get, a ton of people going.
Right. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anything else? Huh?
What else?
I don't know.
Summer Social's right around the corner.
Yeah, that's next month.
Looking forward to that. I started producing more pills for that room sale. So if you
Nice.
missed out at Celebration, This one is what? The Rebel Soldier?
Yes. In Hoth battle gear.
Right. So I came home with Rebel Soldier and Hoth battle gear. I only brought one of those. I only made one Ben Kenobi. I came home with that one. I made 2 R2D2s and 2 C3POs. I have one of each. So there's that. One Princess Leia. I made 2 of those. And then I made 2 Luke Skywalkers, and I came home with 2 Luke Skywalkers. It was just surprising that the hero of the show, of the movies, was not a focus for anyone. No one really cared.
Yeah. It was sort of a weird thing, but I think you're gonna have to make like a bunch of Boba Fett's. I think that's gonna sell. Do the main characters. Do a Leia, do a couple of Leias, do a couple of different Hans, do like 4 or 5 Boba Fett's, and see what happens.
I'm printing more Boba Fett's. I'm printing a bunch of stuff, so Yodas, and I'll have stuff available.
Sweet.
And then what I don't have, I'll probably end up selling it either on Etsy or Facebook. Maybe I'll make a couple of Ahsokas.
There you go. Yeah, that's another one you should make, because there's a lot of Ahsoka.
That's the only modern one that I made. It's the only modern one that sold. I guess that makes sense because it's the only one I made. But yeah,
Everybody loves Ahsoka.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Oh, I guess people are okay with it, but the Ahsoka from Clone Wars is not the same as the Ahsoka from The Mandalorian, even though they are the same character. It's just different iteration. So, are people who love Ahsoka having trouble with that, or do they accept Rosario as Ahsoka? I mean, I don't have any issue, but because Ashley Eckstein was such a big part of who Ahsoka is, without her, are people accepting Rosario as I guess they are, because if they weren't, you would hear about it, kind of like the idiots with Reva.
Right. And I think that the people that have that I know that are really into Ahsoka have accepted it. And I know, like, you were asking me about the guy who played the Grand Inquisitor in live action versus cartoon.
Jason Isaacs and Rupert Friend.
Would I be accepted of Rupert Friend, which I'm not, as the Grand Inquisitor? But then when I saw them announce Sabine, it was a totally different feeling for me. It was like, that's Sabine, that's who she should look like. So it's a really weird feeling, man. When you love a character that much, and then they come up with a live action version of it, and it just, you hadn't even seen the live action version of the character, and you're already accepting of the person playing her. So I guess it's to each his own, and it's a feeling you can't describe until you've had it happen to you.
Ray Stevenson has to be playing Admiral Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah. Who's Ray?
Because they said he's playing an admiral for the Empire, and they're saying he's not playing Thrawn, but it's like, he's such a talented actor. He played the Punisher at one point.
Okay.
He was in that show Rome. I could see him playing Thrawn because he's got a presence to him.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're saying he's not Thrawn. So I don't know. I just think he would make a great Thrawn. And if that's the casting that they've chosen, that'd be great. They're saying that Lars Mikkelsen is not playing Thrawn. He did the voice in the Rebels, but they're saying he's not playing Thrawn in the show. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of seems to be the MO with at least this the Ahsoka show, is they're not using the voice actors.
The thing that I'm really excited about is that rumor that they're making an Heir to the Empire movie for Disney Plus. That's where it's all leading to.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I kind of have to unmarry my thoughts of it being a direct interpretation, and it's just an inspired by the title story. But because when they released On Stranger Tides, which is a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, there was a book called, I'm looking for it right now, On Stranger Tides by Tim Powers. And so they released the title of it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. I read the book. The book is amazing. The movie came out and it was less than the book. And so if you're going to name something Heir to the Empire, I have to prepare myself that it might be less than the book. It might not be as grandiose as the book, and it might not pull on the heartstrings as much, but whatever.
Well, it also depends on how they're going to do it, man. Because are you going to do, go back in time, or are they going to push forward with it?
It's the same time period. I mean, we're still 5 years out after Return of the Jedi for both The Mandalorian and Heir to the Empire, the original book from way back when.
Yeah. Don't know.
Okay.
Everybody, it'll be awesome. Everything is awesome.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Everybody's kung fu fighting in Kenobi, man. All right, Jason, I think we're good, man. So we got to get ready to go to the meetup.
Yeah. Definitely got to get ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to do my spiel. Did I close that down?
Did you close it?
Yes, I did. I could do it really slow until I pull it up. Thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could, please leave a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to your podcast. It really helps us out and points people to our show. Follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We love feedback, and we'd love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo and all the great work you do making our cover images every week. You can find them at Puerto Rico Star Wars on Facebook. And thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the Smugglers Galaxy music. Hasbro, as I said before, Celebration re-released VC66. I don't think that's happening. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way.